Yeah, I'm not surprised that you sound fine. So, how are you doing today?
I'm
Tonight?
okay.
Well, that's good. Your Monday was good, hopefully.
Yeah, it's fine.
What the hell are your days off now?
Historically, it is Mondays and Wednesdays.
Oh, a split day off. Oh, that sucks.
hmm
God, that sucks harder than a $10 hooker. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I've
They
heard.
don't
But
even suck that hard for $10.
I mean, yeah, no. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. I want to kind of talk about. I want to kind of go off topic and talk about the whole Tessa Blanchard situation. You have anything to say about that?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, and because since she beat Sammy Callahan and she's the new, I don't, an Impact is it the world heavyweight champion or is it the world champion? Because she's fucking not a heavyweight. Neither is Sammy Callahan, but he's more of a heavyweight than she is. But I guess it's wrestling, so it's Impact, so no one gives a shit. But
Mhm.
yeah, we'll talk about that and how they're Chelsea Green was bitching about it on Twitter and but anyway, but we'll talk about that. We'll do In Your House and then after that we'll do Royal Rumble 88. Since I'm going to Florida on Saturday, so won't be here next week. So we'll
Okay.
do two. Alrighty, here we go. In three, two, and one. Welcome in to another edition of the Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I'm David Fine, alongside the true Long Island IZ. The hell with Zack Ryder. And speaking of Zack Ryder, we're gonna have some interesting comments from Zack Ryder's girlfriend coming up in just a minute. Alex G, man, there has been a lot of news going on in the current wrestling biz. Of course, this podcast doesn't really talk about the current product, but we kind of delve into it whenever we have to, and when we need to. Of course, we're coming off the Impact pay per view this past
What's
Sunday,
an impact?
huh?
What's an impact?
Yeah, I don't know. No. It was a main event. Sammy Callahan, the lovely and extremely nice, and she was really cool with me and cool with everybody in the locker room whenever I worked with her. Tessa Blanchard, she is your new Impact World Champion. I guess. I mean, is she a heavyweight champion? I'm not really sure because she's not a heavyweight. She's short, but she's not heavy. She's hot, but she's your champion. But that, I mean, it just kind of makes me not upset of all the controversy. I mean, if it happened, it happened. But it's just from from a couple people's perspective, and we don't know what really happened. We don't know if she said it, but in your opinion, does it take away her win over Sammy Callahan to be the first ever woman as a world champion, as a men's world champion?
I don't think so. Um, we watch professional wrestling, and color me shocked that someone's a piece of shit in the wrestling business. Holy shit!
I mean, I've met a couple of those people. Yeah.
Come on, guys. Let's be serious here for a moment, okay? Allegedly, she said some pretty fucking shitty things, right? Whether they true or not, I don't know. I wasn't there. She didn't call me these words. I don't know. You know what I mean? But that being said, the outrage from this, and it seemed like it was a little bit coordinated. You know, she's about to have quite possibly the biggest match of her career. This comes out. It feels to me, not knowing any of these people personally, that it's just they're just trying to take the steam off of this. You know what I mean? Is she a piece of shit? I don't know. Probably. What does that have to do with this pseudo accomplishment? And I'll talk about a pseudo accomplishment in a second. But hey, listen. Throughout the history of professional wrestling, in total, a good portion of our favorites, whether it be today or even growing up, are probably not the best people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of professional wrestlers that I'm currently fans of that I probably wouldn't hang out with. Even more that I wouldn't let my kids hang out with. So everyone needs to relax. Now, if it comes out that, hey, you got a videotape, well, this shit fucking she said whatever, I'd be like, all right, fuck, she's an asshole.
Yeah, but the thing I don't understand about
The
this.
timing seems weird
Yeah,
though.
it's weird. Okay, so it didn't just happen last week. I mean,
No,
it,
this
it
is
it happened months ago. It could happen years ago. Whatever. It just like you said, the coincidence of her on this major accomplishment and probably like you said, the biggest match of her career.
right.
Breaking down the gender barriers of a man versus a
Which I think
woman.
is ridiculous anyway, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I mean that's neither here nor there. It's
Uh,
just the timing is odd, and I mean, like you said, she could be a piece of shit.
yeah,
I mean, she could be the worst person in the world, but we don't know that, and it just, I think it diminishes what she accomplished. I'm not sure. I'm a big fan of Tessa.
me too.
Not a. I mean, are you a big fan of Sammy Callahan? I mean,
No, I think he's terrible.
you're really not a really.
No, I think he's awful. Like, all right, you ever go to someone, you work with people, all right? You have a job, I have a job. You ever work with people and you just stare at them, like, God, they fucking suck.
Oh yeah, I work with I work.
And in some cases, that person might be you, but we don't know that. I'm not gonna take that away from you. Who knows?
I'm terrible, and I'm just horrible. But yeah, I work with people, and you just stare at
You know,
them.
the most I've ever enjoyed Sammy Callahan, and I've watched him forever, is when he's pretending to be Jim Cornette. That's the only time I enjoy him. Oh, his NXT run was balls. Even his runs before that. And he doesn't necessarily last long in any major promotion anywhere. Has from what I understand a bad attitude. Doesn't last very long. He's Austin Aries without being as good as Austin Aries.
Yeah,
That's in terms of his attitude. And he's one of these guys that always tries to get that I call it Twitter heat. Right? Oh, I'm gonna be a dickhead on Twitter, so these guys will pay money to see someone beat me up. And that
yeah,
doesn't necessarily work.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't really work.
But in terms of we'll circle back here in a minute. In terms of this as the overall accomplishment for Tessa, yeah, I'm not shocked by this. Was the most, in terms of booking, this is the most, like, they went down this path. Tessa winning is the most logical booking choice here. Like, it makes the most sense. Now, whether she drops the belt relatively quickly, or she starts defending against other women, or she's had matches with Rob Van Dam. I don't know. She's had quite a few of intergender matches. I don't have a beef with those. I wouldn't book those on my particular show that I'm running if I was ever running a wrestling show, because you can't. I don't think you can get the correct level of heat for those to draw exceptionally well. So because there's not a lot of things you can go off of that, you can always go. The only thing you can do with that is the whole, like, oh, Billy Ray King, Jimmy Connors type thing, heat, right? That's the only heat you can get.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, this guy is a chauvinist, this guy is a misogynist, and that's the only heat you can get. And you can't get that much violence on her. So you can't walk around and whack her in the face with a chair 3 times, because then you get the wrong type of heat, and it makes people uncomfortable with spousal abuse, and it's like a really hard line to do and do correctly. If done well, it could work. Yeah, but anything done correctly could work, or anything done well could work. It's like there's just not a lot of things you can do with that. It's a cool moment. I don't necessarily think it's everyone's saying it's groundbreaking, or it's a hell of an accomplishment. I think the stuff that China was doing a generation ago was more groundbreaking. To be completely honest, some of the stuff that Beth Phoenix was doing a decade ago was more groundbreaking. Um, it kind of is what it is, and I like Tessa as a wrestler. I don't know her as a person, but I like her work. But that being said, it kind of answers my question a little bit about, hey, how come this performer who's amazing in the ring is not with a big time company? How come she's not in WWE feuding with Charlotte? That makes the most sense. That's money right there. Why is she not there? Why didn't she get picked up by AEW? And maybe some of her backstage antics that have cost her job opportunities. It makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, she has a bad attitude and she likes to say racist shit. Okay, maybe that's stopping her from getting these jobs, and maybe more information will come out, and then we can make a decision. I guess I don't know if decision is the right word, but you know, yeah, I like Ric Flair. He cheated on his wife 1,000 times. You
But
know what I mean? Like
see, that is okay. That seems to, that's not
he
okay.
gets a pass on all
But
that.
it
Like I
gets a
love
pass.
Steve Austin. Steve Austin likes to allegedly beat you know his wives.
But yeah, see that's kind of it's funny. No, well, not funny. It's like men, in wrestling cheat on their wives, beat the shit out of their wives or their
Yeah,
girlfriends. But if another wrestler speaks to an African American wrestler or whatever gender or whatever race this person is in a negative way, then it's taken taken worse than someone cheating on their wife or beating the crap out of somebody. It's just
yeah.
it's a whole
Art
different.
Parr raped the chick.
Yeah, it's
We
just
love Los Gringos Locos. You know, professional wrestling is chock full of drug addicts. Just the way it is.
I mean, if this alleged incident, which I've heard that it did happen, between Tessa and another female wrestler,
Like if
and
Tessa's a racist, then she's an asshole.
yeah, I mean, it's one of
I mean,
those
that's
things.
it.
It's just one of those things that I was listening to Busted Open on Sirius XM today, and Tommy Dreamer was on there on the show, and he was like, it's one of those things that could happen in the heat of the moment, and she is not a racist. It just it came
I
out
mean,
at the.
I wouldn't. Hey, listen, this is 100. This is the truth, and I think everyone needs to listen to this. You never drop the N word by accident. That does not happen. If you drop that N word by accident, that means you use that shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't drop that word by accident. You're not in the heat of the moment. You don't drop it. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that. The only way that you could like, oh, I lost control and I dropped the N word is that you say that shit on a consistent basis almost every day. And that's the reality of the situation. You know what? I love Cornette. When Cornette said that shit, I'm looking sideways at him. I'm not gonna fucking kill him for it. I'm still a fan of Jim Cornette, but you look at him sideways, like, for real, dude? Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of tarnishes the reputation of whoever said it. I mean, if they had a great reputation, like a Tessa or a Cornette, they're both great, and they say something stupid like that,
I don't think and then here's the thing that people have to understand also. We need to start doing this as wrestling fans. We need to separate the character from the person. We do a really bad job of that. I love Hulk Hogan. Pretty sure Hulk Hogan's a racist motherfucker, right? But I still love Hulk Hogan. Does not the fact that Hulk Hogan is racist, Terry Bollea say some racist shit doesn't take away from my love of Hulk Hogan because I can separate the characters from the person. It's just like a TV show or movie. Like you have favorite characters in your TV show, and you find out that they're fucking a piece of shit in real life, but you don't care because that's my favorite character on this TV show. You're just an actor, bro.
yeah, I mean, this has gone on in wrestling for years. I mean,
They can't separate it.
no,
The boys can, and sometimes, and most of the times, the fans can't.
yeah, I mean, and this probably
There's no
happened.
reason why you can't get heat.
I mean, this probably happened, years and years and years ago, before the internet, before Twitter, before Facebook, before Instagram, where people said this shit, but no one knew about it because it was only the only people who heard it and knew about it were the people that were there. And
I can tell you just from, I can, Dusty Rhodes just dropped that N word a lot. I could tell. So did Ric Flair. It's a lot of these Southern boys from back in the day probably dropped that shit a fucking
yeah,
fuck ton.
I mean, we 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago when you were off, we played some interviews with Dusty Rhodes, and he didn't use anything like he didn't use the N word, didn't use anything like that, but he referenced African Americans, and it was one of those things. It's like you can't say that shit anymore, and you shouldn't be able to say that back then. But it was, I think, it was a different time back
You
then.
kind of it waved like it was your hand waved it away. And
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like, it goes like to me, professional wrestling is weirdly progressively fucked up in a way. Like professional wrestling was the first form of entertainment to really push, you know, stars of color, or no matter where they're from, right? You look at like an Iron Sheik, right? He's not becoming a star any other way
No.
other than professional wrestling.
Yep.
You look at guys like, Junkyard Dog, his push. He was the top guy, and a lot of and this is and it's in an era where in the NFL they thought like having a black quarterback was bad because they're dumb. You know what I mean? And we have JYD as the biggest star. So like in terms of a progressive ness in terms of professional wrestling, when it always came down to was money. I'm gonna push whoever, doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter anything.
If they can make you money, you'll
Making
push them.
money, we're gonna go with them, right? It's as fair as it can be. It's as American as apple pie. If you're the best at your job, you're gonna be the top guy.
Doesn't matter
Bottom line, right?
what race you are, what color, what
It
gender.
didn't matter. It didn't matter.
No.
Now, where it becomes weird is when they do a lot of the stereotypes, right? But there are stereotypes across the board. So if you look at, you know, the angry black man stereotype that permeated professional wrestling, the Samoan Savage stereotype, the sneaky Japanese stereotype. There's also a redneck stereotype. There's also a cowboy stereotype. There's a Native American stereotype. There's an evil Russian stereotype. There was an evil German stereotype. So it's chock full of fucking stereotypes, not necessarily pinned down to one race. Now, you want to say that African American wrestlers haven't been pushed to the degree as their white counterparts? That's fair. That's 100% fair. Should Butch Reed be the world heavyweight champion like in 1984? You could make an argument for that. But there was a lot of guys in 1984 that didn't get title runs with Ted DiBiase and so on and so forth. So, you always look at percentages. You look at, hey, listen, you look at sports in general. Black athletes dominate basketball and football and all your major sports, but there's the disproportionate of African Americans and professional wrestling, which is also true. Just not enough of them getting into wrestling for whatever reason. I don't know if they're being forced out or kept out or not being trained or whatever, but there is just based on percentages. We talk about, hey, listen, there's 70 wrestlers, in a promotion, and maybe 5 of them are black. You know what I mean? So there's always a disproportionate of terms of numbers overall. That being said, everyone needs to chill the fuck out. That's what it comes down to. It's like, fucking relax. That Twitter outrage is not real. Right? It's just people essentially talking shit.
Yeah.
So like they're not as angry as at least they shouldn't be, because they're gonna have heart attacks real young. But and I hate those prefaces like I am a person of color. You know what I mean? But I have an understanding of how racism works, where we talked about this with the Cornette stuff. Is like, I'm sorry, angry white dude that's mad about racism, but you can't tell me what is and what's not racist. It doesn't work that way. You don't get that right. You should do, less talking, more listening. When it comes to that kind of stuff, because you don't have that right. You can't tell me, well, if so and so is racist. Well, are they? I don't know. Are they? I don't know. Maybe, possibly, maybe not. What do you consider racist? I don't know. So it's a weird thing. I don't understand it. If everything people are saying about Tessa is true, then she's a piece of shit, and she has some atonement to do. Right? It's going to be very important moving forward, because when you quote unquote cancel somebody, right? And this is what people have to think about it. You need to give them a path words. You need to give them a path back. There's no incentive to change behavior if you don't give them a path back. Now, we can tear you down and we'll bring you back up again. You know what I mean? There has to be redemption. There has to be atonement. You know what I mean? And if you don't have forgiveness, or you're not willing to give atonement, then this behavior will not ever change. And that's something that people need to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean,
And in terms of Tessa Blanchard being a world heavyweight champion, It's 2020, man. It don't fucking matter. It's 2020. Will she draw a champion? We'll see. If she draws a champion, fucking it worked. It's fantastic. It's great. If she fucking shits the bed as champion, she don't draw, she don't get pay per view buys or whatever they're doing. She's not fucking affecting the business in a positive manner. Then it was a shitty idea, and that's what it comes down to. If you want to be treated fairly, that's as fair as I can be. If you draw, great. We're gonna run with it. If you don't draw, we're gonna change our direction. Can't get more fair than that.
No, you cannot. I mean, the thing that people should be angry about is this pay-per-view we're covering this week. In Your
In your
House,
house, anything new generation.
In Your House 1. Um, it happened May 14th, 1995.
May 14th.
Yes, 1995. Were you even born then? Syracuse, New York.
13 years old.
And a big attendance, 7,000 in attendance. It was it was definitely it was
I don't know why you picked this piece of shit show.
I mean, well, speaking of redemption, we're talking about redemption with Tessa. If she did, next week we're covering the Royal Rumble 1988.
Yeah.
So that's kind of better than this pay-per-view.
Pay-per-view's not bad. I mean, yeah, okay. Overall, there's some good matches on it. Like you have Bret Hart, Hakushi. That was a little fun. Ramon and Jeff Jarrett sounds fantastic on paper, and we'll talk more about Jeff Jarrett later.
Why does everything sound better on paper?
It does sound better on paper.
Yeah, I mean,
when you see it, you can write something down. It's like, oh, that sounds great, and then you see it in execution.
I mean, this podcast sounds better on paper, but
whoa.
I'm just saying. I mean, come on. I mean, your YouTube channel is, well, it's good, but
shut up. So, but then you follow that up with a really shitty fucking Mabel Adam Bomb match. Yokozuna and Owen versus the Smoking Guns is okay for what it is. You have that Jerry Lawler Bret Hart match. We'll talk about more. We'll talk about Jerry a little bit more. And then you have Diesel versus Psycho Sid, which, to be completely honest, even on paper, you're like, that's not necessarily going to be good. So no, but this is 1995, new generation WWF at its finest here.
Yeah, it was definitely a
no Taker on this show. He's in the dark match, but no Taker on this show because again, let's go back to the beginning here. We got to talk about what In Your House is and what it meant to the wrestling business. Now, In Your House comes along because WCW begins to run more pay-per-views. So, Vince being a stickler for the pay-per-view business, he has to respond in kind. Now, this concept has been tested on a couple different occasions, most notably with this Tuesday in Texas. Now, this is a lower price point pay-per-view at $14.95, and it's only 2 hours long. So it's like a pay-per-view in between the main pay-per-views because you have your big four still going on at this point. So, without a Saturday night's main event to get some of these angles over, probably a smart move overall. What wasn't smart was giving away that house. The name In Your House is ridiculous.
Yeah, we'll talk about that shit show. Anyway, but yeah, I was just looking. There were a lot of fucking dark matches on this program.
Yeah, it's only a 2-hour show. You're not going to have people come out and watch a 2-hour show like for the live audience.
No.
So.
But I mean, you kind of. I mean, what was your thoughts leading up to this pay-per-view? I mean,
I don't know because I was watching WCW,
and I went back and watched the last two Raws before this pay-per-view.
I'm so sorry.
And they were fucking terrible. Holy shit! I mean, I'd rather watch paint dry or be kicked in the crotch. It was just, I mean, I think that was back.
I wouldn't watch it. I would watch this over a 2020 Raw though.
Oh yeah, I think.
Although if you watch those episodes of Action Zone, those are fun.
Yeah, it's the 2020 Raws are terrible. Friday Night SmackDown, I mean, it's okay. I mean, to be honest with you, I'd rather watch NWA Power on Tuesdays on
NWA
YouTube.
White Power, if you want to be a dick about it.
Whoa. Just because it's taped in Atlanta in the South doesn't mean it's White Power. It's not Alabama.
I prefer to stay over the Mason-Dixon line personally.
I don't know who Mason Dixon is, but he's a dick.
He was the protagonist or antagonist in Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, but the first match we had up on the card was Bret Hart versus
Bret the Hitman
Hakush.
Hart.
I'm sorry if I want to be a dick about it. Bret the Hitman Hart taking on Hakushi.
Bushi.
This match was
Jinsei Tenzaki from Japan. Fantastic worker. I thought he was going to be the next great Muda. Fortunately, he was not.
I
He's
fucking
doing. He's here. He's with Sinja, which is I believe is Sato from
the
Orient
Orient Express.
Express.
He was.
Yeah. So he's here, and they don't necessarily, they give him like a winning streak for like 6 months, and they don't really do a whole much with him. I mean, I would have put him in a main event feud with the Undertaker, give Undertaker something to do. But Hakushi was doing some really like revolutionary and some cool shit. You know what I mean? I mean, he's not as revolutionary as say Hayabusa, who was his regular tag team partner, but if you want to talk about Hayabusa's non-union equivalent, Hakushi is a good way to go.
Yeah.
He had to do those fucking tattoos. Like, those are not real tattoos. He had to do that shit every fucking time he wrestled.
That must have been.
He must have been a pain in the ass to do.
He must have had to start, or whoever did it had to start like hours before, because, I was like, huh, that's. And then I looked up. He's like, yeah, he didn't have tattoos. It's like, God,
No.
that was, man, that was.
Like, he looked cool.
Yeah.
He had a cool look. He probably needed someone that I could actually talk for him. Not that Senior did a terrible job, but he probably needed a different manager at that point. I wish Johnny Polo was still around. Probably could have used Johnny Polo at this point. But he had a good match with him and Bret. And again, as we know, this is more of the Bret Hart Jerry Lawler feud that's been going on seemingly for fucking ever at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that on this pay per view, and even in the dark matches, they had wrestlers wrestle twice in one night, which, I mean, I guess is common sometimes.
TV taping style.
Yeah, it's like it just seems. But yeah, I mean, this match. I mean, it was funny. It was the longest match of the pay per view. 14:39.
It was a good like you can have bad pay per views. Like, you always pull off good matches, right? Like, this is a good match. Probably, you put it on a best of 1995, WWF, DVD or Blu-ray. This is probably a match you're gonna want to throw on there. I mean, it's good. It's a good match. It's Bret Hart, Hakushi. Fucking good match.
Yeah, I mean, two great workers. It was a good match. Next,
now Bret Hart gets to fight Jerry Lawler later on in the night because he won this match.
God, I'm sure he was super excited about that. The next match we had on the card was Razor Ramon, the bad guy, taking on Jeff Jarrett. That's
Double J Jeff Jarrett.
JEFF, JARRETT, Double J Jeff Jarrett, and the roadie in a handicap match. Yes, I mean, Razor. I mean,
can we talk about Jeff Jarrett here for a second?
Sure.
I want to talk about Jeff Jarrett.
I love Jeff Jarrett back in the WWE.
First of all, we all love Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett, at this point in 1995, you can make an argument that he's a top 5 wrestler in the world. Like, he's having good matches with Razor Ramon. He's having good matches with Shawn Michaels. He's having good matches with Kevin Nash. He's having good matches with Bret Hart. Like, he's having like all these fantastic matches. He's having great matches with 1-2-3 Kid, and he's having like these really fun like jobber matches where he's like bouncing around like a maniac for these jobbers, which is a lot of fun. But he ends up getting the win at the end. But we look at Jeff here, and it's like, why is Jeff not a top guy here? Like, he should be the one in the feud with Diesel, and he's not, and I don't know why. Here's the thing I want people to understand here. Vince McMahon really, really likes Jerry Lawler a lot. He has a lot of respect for Jerry Lawler. He also spent a lot of time trying to get guys to copy Jerry Lawler. You talk about the Honky Tonk Man, that was Vince's Jerry Lawler. You want to talk about the King, Harley Race. Again, another ill-advised attempt to have someone be the king. Jeff Jarrett falls in that category. Jeff Jarrett is the best example of what in his prime Jerry Lawler wrestling the WWF style would look like. because I think a lot of people who see, a lot of younger fans will see Jerry Lawler like, oh, like here at this point, like having this really shitty match with Bret Hart, but they don't fully understand how fantastic bell to bell Jerry Lawler was. We talk about Ric Flair having great matches with a broomstick, right? And how Flair had to carry these guys 60 minutes, these really shitty workers over and over again. Jerry Lawler did the same thing and probably had more exciting matches. You'd have to go that hour, but some of the guys that Jerry Lawler had the main event with in Memphis were not the best bell-to-bell workers you can get. So we have, I wouldn't say a carbon copy because Jeff's a little different, but very close. Very close example of what Jerry Lawler at his prime would have looked like in 1995 WWF. Now he's doing this fucking really awful gimmick here, although he makes it work. I'll give him credit there. This whole fucking country music, fucking singing shit, the fucking honky tonk man retread that he's doing at this point. He executes it well. It's a bad idea. Where the WWF has a litany of bad ideas. Just another one. I do enjoy the flashing hat though. That's fun. But I think it's a terrible gimmick. If he was just Jeff Jarrett, kind of the cocky heel, probably would have worked out a lot better for him. That's probably the reason why he's at the main event spot at this moment, where he probably deserved to be in one. Now, a lot of people say Jeff Jarrett. A lot of people remember Jeff Jarrett from maybe that WCW run, or maybe TNA, where not for nothing he wasn't the best ring bell to bell in ring worker, but at this point in 1995, in his prime, he's fucking amazing. Can have good matches with all your top stars, can have good matches with lower card guys and get them over, and he can execute extremely well on promos. So across the board, he's fucking fantastic. He doesn't last very long though. He's in and out of the WWF, goes down to WCW, comes back to the WWF. He doesn't stick around for very long. I think that's maybe one of the things that hurt him in the long run is that he never if he stuck around from this all the way through the Attitude Era, he probably would have been in a better spot.
Yeah, I mean, he was a great wrestler, and he did
fantastic.
I mean,
love the hair too. The hair at this point is on point. I don't know about the fucking strappy doos on his gear; those get weird every once in a while. But I think overall, we love Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, he was great on the mic, and I mean, he's just, I mean, there's no one better.
And the Road Dogg being the best talker out of all the Armstrongs, not the best worker. That's Brad, for Christ's sakes.
I thought you said. I thought you thought it was Bullet Bob.
Well, here's the thing: I haven't seen enough Bullet Bob matches in his prime. Like I've seen Bullet Bob team up with Brad or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this doesn't exist on tape. At least not a whole lot of it. So it's hard for me to make those determinations. That's why all-time lists get weird because, is there a lot of footage of Bruno in his prime or fucking Dory Funk in his prime or Luthez in his prime for me to even give an educated opinion? I just have to go by what the people who saw them live in the crowd says. You know what I mean? But if I'm gonna sit here, if I put my top 10 list of workers all time, and you're including fucking Gorgeous George or Buddy Rogers, is like you never saw them wrestle. So those get an asterisk, that's what it is. Like it's not like baseball where we have stats, so you can see how many fucking home runs Babe Ruth fucking hit, right? So you can understand them, and then you can rank them accordingly. That's necessarily stats with professional wrestling. You could do ratings, which no buy rates, no live attendance gates possibly as a determining factor, but it won't tell you how good the match was. Ring the ring. You can only go by what people said that watched it live. So
yep. So I mean, that's just what makes professional wrestling different than any other sport. Next match we had my favorite wrestler of all time, Mabel, with Little Mo taking on Adam Bomb in a King of the Ring qualifying match.
Who thought Adam Bomb could be a babyface? He's a mutated monster from 3 Mile Island. Who's like, oh, fucking Adam Bomb, pals? He's the babyface.
That just not to seem right.
Oh, fuck. No. Mabel's terrible. Liked him better as Viscera, though. But he's a heel now, right? So he's a heel. But he's still very men on the mission-ish. and Men on the Mission is a very babyface act. You know what I mean? Like Men on a Mission is supposed to be a very it's a hip hop orientated. It's a very urban orientated. It's supposed to be very street. I guess that's the I don't even know that's the appropriate word. I don't know what the fuck they were trying to do, but they weren't at all. You know what I mean? I grew up in New York City, and I was in New York City in 19 fucking 95. No one was dressing like Mabel or Mo. That's just the bottom line.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing hip about them. They're even when they had Oscar, and Oscar was rapping like it was 85. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like no one rapped like that past 1986.
But
The Met,
thank God it was only a minute and 54 match, 54-minute match. Yeah, it
a
was.
minute 54 seconds. It was 54 minutes. I was shot myself.
That's what I meant to say. A minute and 54 seconds. I have no idea what I've been smoking. Sorry,
I
but
liked Adam Bomb when he was in Chronic, though.
yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Atom Bomb fan, but I mean, that's
You like the Night Stalker better?
no,
Oh,
nope.
okay, that's fair.
I was a big fan of this next match. Owen Hart, Yokozuna. They were the tag team
Tag
champions
champions.
with Jim Cornette, Mr. Fuji taking on Bart and Billy Gunn, the Smoking Guns, for the tag team titles.
There's two things I want to bring up here. Number one, I love Owen Hart and Yoko as a tag team. I think they're fucking amazing. Although Owen Hart and Yokozuna signaled the death of the WWF tag team division.
Why so?
Because after this, they went away from the teams and just started going more towards, hey, listen, we have two single stars and we're going to make them tag team champions, which I believe Owen and Yoko were maybe not the first ones, but probably the most notable because I know that Shawn Michaels and Diesel had won the belts earlier in '94. I mean, the end of '94. So, yeah, to me, the signal is the end of the I guess vaunted WWF tag team division with your demos and your Hearts and your Killer Bees and your British Bulldogs and your Brainbusters and what have you. And now, we have Owen Hart, Yokozuna, who I love. I think the fact that Owen picked Yoko as a partner because Yoko beat Brett is like fantastic. I love that kind of that piece of business there. And you have Cornette with Mr. Fuji, and they had the whole Camp Cornette thing, and I think it's just a lot of fun going around. You have the Smoking Guns here. That Billy Gunn is pretty good. Bart's pretty good too, but it's like a cowboy gimmick in 1995. With the blank guns and the like, really? Like,
It's kind
and
of
they're
like
not even like cowboys, like cool badass cowboys. Like they're literally as cartoon cowboys as you can fucking get.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Wild Eyed Southern Boys. I mean, that did.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like fucking, fucking, the Blackjacks or there's nothing cool about these guys at all.
I mean, it wasn't
Not
like.
even like Dusty to a certain degree. Like Dusty liked to have his cowboys around, but those were actually like contemporary cool cowboys. But this is
Would you
not.
consider Black Bart kind of a cowboy?
Black Bart, yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
mean,
another one. He's a good one.
Outlaw. No, no. Yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, he
How
was an
about Stan
outlaw, but
Hansen?
yeah,
I mean, he wasn't really a
Stan Hansen is a fucking cowboy for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but that was a cool. I mean, he was a badass motherfucker. But
Yeah,
these
these
guys,
are like literally like what someone in Connecticut thought of cowboys. Like this is like as far away from this as cartoony as you can get.
yeah, I mean, it's sometimes there's stereotypes, and sometimes you need to play off the stereotypes. If someone from Alabama is a real redneck and that's their gimmick, make them big redneck chewing tobacco.
Steve Austin is a
Yeah,
stereotype.
yeah. I mean, it's like if you think a cowboy looks like a Stan Hansen or a Black Bart, build it up and don't make it look cartoonish and
Like
stupid.
this is like literally like it's fucking bad. Like it is fucking bad.
I mean, the fans are they're not
Like they come
stupid.
across, and I know that like Billy had like a rodeo scholarship or whatever the fuck, right? Like these guys, that's why they
What the
have this gimmick,
what the
right?
fuck is a rodeo scholarship? That
I
seems
don't, I
retarded.
don't know. You're from the South. There's no rodeos
Whoa,
up here.
whoa. Hey. That's a stereotype. There are not a lot of rodeos down here. I've been to the bull riding once, so
It's
just
weird, but
yeah,
there's nothing authentic about the Smoking Guns. Now, when we have Billy Gunn as Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass, that felt more authentic to me. Like that's really Billy Gunn. And this is not. This is like, hey, you're playing this fucking weird character here that's a cowboy who they wrestle in jeans and they talk funny and they got blank guns and it's weird.
yeah. I mean, it's just and their last name was Gunn. It's just really weird,
Yeah.
but I mean, but it was 1995 WWF. I mean,
Yeah, they're really just like I don't know.
who was booking back then? Was it
I don't know.
Vince?
Like they get some writers from Sesame Street. I mean, I know who's booking. It's fucking it's Pat, Vince, JJ, probably Bruce.
Bruce, and he's back doing it now, or I don't know. He's not booking now, but he's back in creative and being a producer. But that should explain a lot. But next match we had on the card, another Bret Hart match, taking on Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah, Jerry gets the win here with the interference from Hakushi. So that's fun.
Yeah,
So again, you're just gonna extend this feud even more. Like '93, this was hot. Even '94, this is a fucking fantastic. Like they went back to this again in '95. Like you can't like Jerry Lawler got a lot of mileage off those fucking like Martha Hart jokes.
yeah. I mean, it's
Spent a lot of time with that. Like
yeah.
I actually like Vince just thought it was funny. So yeah, just keep on doing that, Jerry.
And then I mean, he
It's
also did.
hilarious.
I'm not sure if it was Jerry or another wrestler did a bunch of Stu Hart things, like when he was in the crowd, he would make fun of him, and then it's
Yeah,
just
that was. I mean, Bobby. I think Bobby started it first, and then when Bobby left, like they really ratcheted it up with Lawler.
yeah. I mean, and but a thing. I was just thinking a thing that's not a joke because I keep on getting these damn messages on YouTube. Is your YouTube channel? I mean, it's blowing up. I mean, it's got so
Like
many
me in the bathroom.
yeah, so many subscribers, so many views. I mean, if someone, after this, after they listen to the show, if they just want to push the old pause button, click on the link in the show notes. How can they get to your YouTube channel and how can they follow you on Twitter?
Well, all you want to do is go to Retro Wrestling Games on YouTube. Just type it in the search bar, and the first one that comes up. We have currently 367 videos up. We have stuff going up weekly at this point. Again, we're prepping for the next NWA 1984 project. We're going to talk about King Kong Bundy and some other topics that are coming up. But we're going to really big focus on King Kong Bundy and what to do with Monster Heels when you beat them. So that's going to be a big focus of that show. Just had a Godzilla 2014 on the PS4 that just went up. Some gameplay footage of that. So be on the lookout for, just go on and just check that out. And in terms of Twitter, sometimes I like to take breaks from Twitter. I don't use Twitter to do stuff. I use it to pimp my product, and that's it. If you want my opinions, you listen to this show. That's probably the way it goes. To be completely honest, but I'll like and I'll retweet like cool shit that I see. But I'm not here to argue with weirdos on Twitter.
Yeah,
And the people who like to argue like that on Twitter are weirdos to me.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the key. I guess people call them the keyboard cowboys. It's like you hide behind a keyboard and you complain and bitch and moan and you don't do any, you don't come out with your own don't come out with your own podcast and refute these claims of whatever. I mean, if we say something that you don't like, hit us up.
You told me fucker all day.
Subscribe to it. To the podcast. Give a complaint. I don't really care. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Facebook. I mean, hey, folks, we're just here giving us our.
We'll talk it out. Like I'm not gonna go like Alex. I don't agree with what you said here. All right, cool. Let's talk it out. Maybe we agree to disagree, or you change my mind, or I change your mind.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
the fuck knows?
yeah,
Anything can happen.
yeah. I mean, hey, it's 2020. Anything can happen. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't agree with a lot of the opinions that you have, but we
they're all
talk.
true though.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
They're all
They
true.
we talk it out, and we have a good show. But speaking of good shows, this is not one of them. We have the main event of what you saw on the pay per view. Diesel taking on Psycho Sid with Ted DiBiase. It's for the WWF World Title. I guess like I always say, there must have not been a softball tournament that weekend.
It was
So
over, man. We can sit here and we can make fun of Sid all we want, but what we can't make fun of is his ability to number one draw money,
yep,
and number two, how fucking over he was.
yeah.
Fucking over as fuck.
Were you a fan of were you a fan of this incarnation and this version of Sid
I
Vicious?
liked no, I liked the '96, the one that beat Sean for the belt. I really enjoyed that era of Psycho Sid. I like WCW Psycho Sid, especially early on. Not necessarily a big fan of WCW Psycho Sid at in the 2000s, the Millennium Man run, but I do like the run here, like '96, '97 ish. And I do like his first run in WWF too. Like I thought that was fun. Like when we destroyed the barbershop and the can of fucking shaving foam fucking hits him in the face and his shaving foam all over his face. I thought that was cool. But that match with Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 8 was the drizzling shit. So that was fucking awful.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean,
But
kind of.
like you have Diesel, right? Diesel's not gonna have the greatest match. Sid's not gonna, you need guys. You need your Jeff Jarrett's and your Bret Hart's and your Scott Halls and your Shawn Michaels for these guys to really have a really good match. Let's put them together instead and do that. Shit, you're better off booking Diesel with fucking King Kong Bundy.
Or Mabel.
Or
Yeah.
they do that.
Yeah,
Fucking
I mean,
bad idea.
this match was, good. I mean, the thing that we'll go back to the match. I was just looking up. The thing we haven't talked about is the fucking house that they gave away. So they had your favorite wrestler, your favorite commentator, who was at the time, draw the
Hot Bagel's fucking super underrated, by the way.
you a big Pat and Gilmark?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they gave it away to an 11-year-old.
Serious?
Huh?
Like who you like? Greg DeGeorge?
Yes.
Corey Macklin? Like who? Like come on.
Hey, Corey Macklin was underrated. Speaking of, okay, I'm not sure you.
Yeah, and Jerry Lawler.
Speaking of that, back to current wrestling. AEW was in Memphis last week. They did some legends of Memphis, and they had Dave Brown on
Dave
uh,
Brown,
on
amazing.
on on the commentating team, which they only had it for one match, and then they switched back. Were you a big Dave Brown fan?
I like the team of Dave Brown and Lance Russell. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, when Dave gets like his like a Corey Macklin or someone else coming in who replace Lance, you can't replace Lance. But as a Robin, he's a really good Robin to Lance's Batman, and I don't think he'll be insulted by that. I think he'll take that as a compliment. Like
Yeah.
he was really good, and even the stuff like where he had to go solo and fill in for Lance by himself, I think he did a really really great job. He's a legit weatherman. So like these guys were legit broadcasters. It wasn't like taking this guy off the street, and having them call matches. Like both Lance and Dave, they're like your cool uncles that come to Thanksgiving and you love them to death, and that's what they are.
Yes. I mean, I wish I had cool uncles. But speaking
No,
of, kind of rounding up the
here, touch your booty.
kind.
That's on the store.
That's neither here nor there. Rounding up the broadcast, we had the giveaway of the house to an 11-year-old by the name of Matthew
Which I'm pretty
Pompaselli.
sure is illegal, by the way.
Yeah, his name was Matthew Pompaselli. Come to find out, his family had moved from your neck of the woods, New York, to Las Vegas. That just seems like a terrible place for an 11-year-old to live, Las Vegas.
Pretty good in the mafia.
Yeah, well, I mean, probably. And WWE.com asked him recently, "Do you still live in the house?" He said no. They sold it like 6 months after for like $175,000. So, I just that just what were your thoughts on this gimmick? I mean, it was
Like, let me ask you a question about like you got a house, right? Like I'm 11 years old. Like I don't give a fuck about a house. Like
no.
was the house full of like chock full of like WWF swag in it? Like did you have like WWE like wallpaper and stuff? Because that would have been more fucking awesome than anything else. Like it was just we're just gonna give away this house. It's much like the Rolls Royce they gave around for the Wrestling Classic. It's like yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah, it was definitely weird. It's like yeah, I was like
It's a weird gimmick to do, and especially where like that would not interest a kid at all. You know what would fucking interest me? Send me to fucking space camp like they used to do with fucking Double Dare. That would have been fucking dope.
yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, oh God, I used to love Double Dare. And the funny thing is about this, the kid must have been traumatized and decided to sell the house because the first person that he met coming out of the limousine whenever they went to the house were the Bushwhackers,
Oh
Luke and
yeah, Nick.
Butch. They probably started licking him, which, by the way,
I'm shocked that the Bushwhackers are still around in 1995.
I'm surprised the Bushwhackers didn't get arrested for licking people. I just, I mean,
When was the last time you had your bushwhacked?
had it licked the other day, but that's beside the point.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
I mean,
gross.
who came up with that? Like, did Luke or Butch say, "Hey, this would be a great idea to go and lick random people in their head or other parts of the body"? Just, I just liked it when they were. I just,
That's like Bushwhackers is probably tier one cartoonish type gimmick. Like you
sheep
can't get.
herders all the fucking way.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, that's like saying, oh, do you like this beautiful girl with big ass titties, or do you want to have sex with this little piece of shit on the floor? Of course.
Well,
You never stuck your dick in poop before
on that weird note, what was your overall rating for this show?
for your dick.
Alrighty, this show is going off the railings.
Three out of 10.
I give it a 1 out of 10.
Just the one, the middle one. That's all you're gonna give it. That Bret Hart and Hakushi match is fun. Razor and Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie is fun. That is all.
Speaking of hopefully good shows, next week we're covering the Royal Rumble from 1988. Your thoughts before we head to the house and take this program home and end the program and in week 3 of consecutive 52 weeks in a row of new programming here on the network on Wednesdays. What was your thoughts on Royal Rumble 1988?
The show's important due to two things. Number one, it sets up the main event.
It's important or impotent?
No, you're impotent. Shooting
Durr!
it's gross. It's important because number one, there's a lot of things to unpack here. First and foremost, it's the first Royal Rumble, right? Royal Rumble number 1, right? It's important. Number 2, it is the go home show for the main event, which is the big, Friday night primetime special the WWF was having. And number 3, it's important because it's just another way for Vince McMahon to fuck with Jim Crockett because it's on the same night as the Bunkhouse Stampede. So lots to unpack there.
And we will unpack that same time, same channel next week, right here on the Retro Wrestling Rewind. So, for the great Alex G. As always, I'm David Fine. We will talk to you next week where we talk about Royal Rumble 1988. We'll talk to you in the past.